Life doesn't send an invitation. It doesn't ask if you're ready for the impact. It simply strikes. And for most, that hit is a shattering, a collapse, a desperate plea for comfort in the wreckage. But not for you. Not if you're ready to ascend. Not if you choose power over pity. Machiavelli understood this. He spoke to the broken, the betrayed, the discarded, because it is in the crucible of your deepest pain that your true strength is forged. You want to know who you truly are? Let everything be stripped away. The comforts, the connections, the certainty. In that raw, exposed silence, you will meet yourself. And if your mind is soft, you will drown in self-pity. But if it is cold, alert, and strategically detached, you will transcend. Pain is not your adversary, it is your mentor. It sifts the fragile from the formidable. And if you allow it, pain will sculpt a mind that nothing ever again can bend. This world doesn't care for your feelings, it only responds to your actions. When they leave you in the dark, don't cry out. Sit, observe, deconstruct your thoughts, analyze your reactions, locate the hidden fissures of your weakness, then starve them. Don't reach out, reach inward, because a mind that stands unyielding under pressure becomes a force beyond their control. You are not here to be liked, you are here to become indomitable. Weak minds crave comfort. Strong minds demand control. When life strikes, most seek refuge in distraction, fleeting highs, endless noise, the soothing balm of others' validation. But comfort, my friends, is the silent assassin of growth. It is precisely what the world uses to keep you pliable. To be untouchable, you must fundamentally rewire your response to pain. Machiavelli knew this. Control is the ultimate form of power, and it begins not with others, but with mastery over your own internal landscape. You have been conditioned to numb, to scroll, to blame, to avoid the true battle within. But the one who commands his own mind commands his world. While others chase fleeting pleasure, you cultivate unshakable focus. While they beg for reassurance, you embrace discomfort. While they panic, you strategize. This isn't heartlessness. This is absolute dominion over your most vital asset, your own psychology. They will call you cold. Let them. Their judgment merely confirms their inability to manipulate you. Your silence will unsettle them. Your indifference will offend them. But you require neither their understanding nor their approval. You require your mind to obey your will. You were never weak because life inflicted pain. You became weak when you allowed emotion to commandeer your judgment. When you surrendered your mental sovereignty to chaos, you became prey. Understand this. Pain is inevitable. Your interpretation of it is a choice. And in the arena of power, the one who dictates meaning dictates everything. Life may scar your body, but if it shatters your mind, you were never prepared for the war. You must unlearn the delusion that emotional outbursts signify authenticity. They signify predictability. The world studies you. If your reactions are automatic, you are already owned. They know your triggers. They know how to bait your anger, your sadness, your hunger for validation. And each time you respond predictably, you confirm your enslavement. So what is the path forward? Emotional discipline. Not emotionlessness, but surgical discipline. You feel the heat, yes, but you move only with calculated intent. You mourn, but behind an impenetrable veil. You speak less, but every word lands with the precision of a blade. You conserve your sacred focus, denying access to those who haven't earned it. Machiavelli wrote that it is safer to be feared than loved. In psychological warfare, love creates dependency. Fear compels caution. People will measure their words. They will second-guess their moves. They will respect you, even if they never comprehend you. This is the edge you are forging, not mere strength, but psychological sharpness. Most remain broken because they cling to the narrative life assigned them. They wear their suffering like a shield, hoping for pity. But Machiavelli's power is not granted through sympathy. It is seized through relentless mental warfare. To become untouchable, you must incinerate your old story. Obliterate every narrative that casts you as a victim, that claims you were wronged, that insists life owes you anything. Life owes you nothing, but it will grant you power if you prove ruthless enough to claim it. Your trauma is not your personality. Your pain is not your identity. It was a phase, a test. Now, destroy it. You are not here to recount what happened to you. You are here to demonstrate what you became because of it. People will attempt to remind you of your past. Allow them. Just ensure that the version of you they seek to address no longer exists. That is how you control the narrative, by eliminating the self that remained broken. Machiavelli understood that perception eclipses reality. So let your words cut. Let your silence be a weapon. When they doubt you, do not explain, exceed. And when life inevitably strikes again, you will not crumble. You will calculate. You will adapt. You will utilize it. Because a mind honed by pain becomes fluent in strategy. There will be nights when your own mind feels like an enemy. You will question everything. You will crave oblivion. In that precise moment, you have one choice: collapse or construct. Succumb to weakness or build your mental empire. You don't need more hope. You need more control. The mind doesn't respect motivation. It respects discipline. Feed it the brutal truth and train it to obey under duress. Attachment is the most insidious killer of mental power. It masquerades as love, loyalty, hope. But beneath its veneer, attachment transforms your strength into chains. You wait, you chase, you compromise your very standards to retain people, places, possibilities never meant to endure. This is the first fracture in your mental armor. Machiavelli forged power not by clinging, but by observing, calculating, and detaching when necessary. To fortify your mind against betrayal, absorb this principle. Never tether your inner peace to anything external. Not people, not outcomes, not even the idealized version of who you believe you should be. The moment something outside controls your emotional state, it controls you. And a controlled man is a weak man. To become truly dangerous, become emotionally independent. Master the art of serene composure amidst pandemonium. They will marvel at your unresponsiveness, your refusal to beg, your unwavering gaze. That is when you know the transformation is complete. Your silence becomes unsettling, your absence deafening, your detachment your dominance. While the world descends into panic, you remain poised, not because you are devoid of feeling, but because you are devoid of need. Each act of detachment reclaims a fragment of power. Each refusal to explain sharpens your focus. Each unreturned reaction earns respect. Each time you walk away, you declare to the world you were never meant to be owned. You were meant to be observed from a distance. Being unbothered is not coldness, it is control. And in this warfare, control is everything. They will attempt to guilt you, to accuse you of changing. Let them. The truth is, you simply ceased to be their emotional servant. You stopped bleeding for those who ignored your wounds. You stopped diminishing yourself so others could feel taller. And now that you have chosen power over approval, they will try to rewrite the script, but they no longer have the authority. You see through it, clear, cold, focused. They will tell you that solitude is perilous, that isolation signifies failure, that distance means you are broken. This is a fabrication
spun by those who cannot tolerate silence. Weak minds crave noise, constant company to drown out the internal war. But you are different now. You are entering a phase few will survive. Chosen isolation. Not loneliness, but solitude. And within that solitude, you will construct something unshakable. Your mind. This is where the world recedes, and your thoughts amplify. Every fear, every insecurity, every regret will rise to the surface. This is not an assault, it is an audit. This is where Machiavelli thrived. He observed, he plotted, he sharpened his mind in the dark while others reveled in the light. Because isolation grants you this, a sanctuary free from illusion. You begin to see with crystalline clarity who you truly are, what broke you, and what must be immolated for you to rise. Most flee this confrontation. They fill the void with distractions, music, people, endless scrolling, anything to avoid their own reflection. But you will sit in that silence and dominate it. You will hear your mind scream and you will not flinch. You will hear old beliefs beg for survival and you will extinguish them one by one. This is not healing. This is transformation. And transformation is never gentle. It is brutal. It is cold. But it is real. Here you rewrite the code. You cease thinking like a servant. You begin to think like a strategist. You sever emotional noise. You cleave to tactical clarity. You reprogram how you awaken, how you speak, how you command a space. You no longer chase fleeting pleasure. You pursue relentless discipline. You no longer ask why things happened. You ask how you can exploit them. This shift, this is your rebirth. Not soft, not spiritual, strategic. Pain is life's ultimate intelligence test. Not academic knowledge, not books, not degrees, but raw, visceral pain. The kind that shatters your routine, humbling your ego, ripping open your illusions. In that chaos, the weak cry for comfort, but the future rulers, they grow silent. They stop feeling and begin calculating. They view pain as a message, a puzzle, a universe's warning shot. Adapt now or be erased. If you still react emotionally to pain, you haven't understood its true purpose. Pain is data. It exposes your vulnerabilities. It reveals what can be leveraged against you. It identifies dependencies, misjudgments, and the weak points in your defenses. Here, you cease to perceive pain as an enemy. You wield it as a scalpel. You dissect it. You sit with it. You ask, why did this wound me so deeply? The answer inevitably points to one truth. Your mind had fallen asleep. Machiavelli would remind you, never let peace lull you into softness. The world is not a sanctuary. It is a board of traps, gambits, and consequences. When you perceive life as a battlefield, you begin to function as a tactician. Pain ceases to be negative. It becomes feedback. Your heartbreak? Data. Your failures? Map coordinates. Your betrayals, a ledger of vulnerabilities to be sealed shut. While others crumble under emotion, you begin to craft responses, not reactions. A response is a product of strategy. It is timed, it is chosen, it is cold. That is power. Most play checkers with their pain, impulsive, loud, desperate, but you play chess. You stop asking why me. You begin to ask, how can this pain strategically position me for the long game? That is the Machiavellian mindset. Cold, clear, focused. Let's be unequivocal. The world doesn't destroy you with weapons. It destroys you with expectations, with pressure, with emotional bait. You are told to be agreeable when silence is strength, to forgive when walking away is wisdom, to explain when vanishing is paramount. Each compliance chips away at your essence. This is the mechanism of control, not force, but emotion. But that game is over. You are done bleeding for those who wield the knife. This is the genesis of your emotional immunity, not numbness. Immunity. The distinction: numbness avoids. Immunity absorbs and remains unaffected. This is the power you are now constructing. Their words will not pierce. Their absence will not shake you. Their opinions will not override your standards. You will hear it, you will see it, but it will not reach your core. Why? Because you have fortified your internal walls. Nothing that isn't truth gains entry. The weak squander their energy without thought. A single insult unravels them. A ghosted message obliterates their self-respect. A setback plunges them into victimhood. But Machiavelli knew a ruler must be unshakable, not hardened, but focused. You cannot command an empire if you cannot command your own emotions. You cannot lead others if a few careless words can destabilize you. And you certainly cannot protect your mind if you continue to grant access as if it costs nothing. You must audit everything that impacts your energy. Every conversation, every environment, every person. You must ask, does this strengthen me or does it scatter me? The moment you detect shrinking, doubting, or hesitation, sever it. Emotionally, strategically, quietly. This is not about retribution. This is about preservation. They do not need to know you are finished. They only need to feel the void where your emotional investment once resided. Powerful men rarely speak. They offer no explanations. They engage in no public arguments. They walk in silence. But their presence resonates louder than any utterance. This is not arrogance. This is calibration. They understand the battlefield they tread. They know eyes are watching. They know perception sculpts reality. And they know this: the less you utter, the more control you exert. You do not need to raise your voice to be heard. You need to radiate an energy that compels others to feel your presence without comprehending why. This is what Machiavelli meant. Rulers must appear strong, even if they are not, because in the game of power, perception always transcends truth. And now you train for this, to become unreadable, calm, cold, controlled, a presence so contained that others feel exposed in your vicinity, not because you're doing anything, but because they cannot decode you. Your silence becomes a mirror. People project onto you their guilt, their fear, their true intentions, and you say nothing. You allow them to reveal themselves while you reveal nothing. This is how you win without lifting a finger, by being the one who doesn't need to speak to alter the atmosphere. You have witnessed it. A room shifts when a specific individual enters. The energy tightens, conversations falter, postures adjust. This is not magic. This is presence. And presence is forged in solitude, in discipline, in quiet self-mastery. It is built when you no longer pursue approval, when you move with serene certainty in who you are, and crucially, who you are not. This is where your true dominance commences, not through overt expression, but through the refusal to overexpress. Weak men overcompensate. They talk excessively. They boast loudly. They overexplain. This is insecurity cloaked in bravado. But you are becoming something rarer. A man who can sit still in the eye of a storm. A man who does not flinch under insult. A man who does not react because he is perpetually 2 steps ahead. You have felt the betrayal. You have endured the silence. You have sat alone in the dark with thoughts that sought to consume you whole. And yet, you are still here. Stronger, quieter, colder. Not because life became easier, but because you finally comprehended. The world does not reward softness. It rewards the mind that refuses to die, even when all else perishes. This is the moment you transcend. Not a survivor, not a victim, but a weapon, a presence, a mind that does not flinch when tested, for it has been tested 1,000 times in silence, and each time it did not break, it recalibrated. This is what Machiavelli meant. Men must either be caressed or annihilated, because power exists not in half measures. It does not belong to the emotional. It does not respond to the hopeful. It bows only to those who train their minds like an assassin trains his blade, cold, sharp, and perpetually prepared. This final stage is where most retreat. They pine for the old comforts, the noise, the easy validation. But not you. You do not miss the past because you have burned the bridge. You have witnessed the fruits of softness, overlooked, utilized, forgotten. You have seen the futility of over-explanation. It merely invites greater disregard. You have experienced the consequence of emotional reaction, weakness. You have outgrown all of it. And now, you do not look back. You construct forward.
The unbreakable mind is not born of hope. It is forged through design, through choice, through relentless ritual. Every morning you choose to remain sharp. Every decision is a strategic move. Every response is calculated. You cease chasing outcomes. You build leverage. You cease granting access. You raise the price. You cease proving worth. You live like a man who demands value. When life strikes now, you do not panic. You pause. You do not collapse. You adjust. You do not seek comfort. You seek control. This is the chasm between the old you and the emergent version. The former needed things to go right. This one knows how to win even when everything goes wrong. Because the game is no longer emotional. It is psychological. It is strategic. It is war. And your mind is the battlefield. So you walk differently now, not with arrogance, but with power. You speak less, but when you do, people listen. You no longer attempt to fit into rooms. You command the space with your presence. You no longer explain your silence. You wear it like armor. This is the mark of one who has been trained in fire, one who stopped waiting to be understood and started becoming impossible to ignore. Machiavelli would have turned this state invincibility through perception. The moment people realize they cannot control your mind, they will begin to respect you differently. They cease testing you. They cease wasting your time, because everything about your presence communicates one truth. This man is untouchable, not because he fights, but because he no longer bleeds for the world. The mind you have trained cannot be seduced by attention. It cannot be shaken by betrayal. It cannot be lured back into old patterns with shallow promises. It sees through manipulation. It remains calm under pressure. It thinks 5 moves ahead. It trusts nothing easily, and yet it fears nothing completely. That is a mind made for war. That is a mind that does not fold. It observes, it waits, and it strikes only when necessary. You did not arrive here by accident. You arrived here because life attempted to break you, and you used every shattered piece as fuel, every betrayal as a blueprint, every disappointment as a sharpening stone. That is a power no one can seize, because it was not granted by the world. It was meticulously built in silence, alone, brick by brick. And now you lead, not from behind a mask, not from a place of noise, but from depth, from clarity, from cold, strategic understanding. You do not entertain the irrelevant. You do not emotionally invest in chaos. You issue no warnings. Your absence speaks volumes. You do not boast. Your energy compels people to reconsider their tone before they utter a single word. This is the final state, not emotional detachment for defense, but psychological clarity for dominance. You have ceased reacting to life. You have begun running it. You have trained your mind to be strong when life breaks you, and that, right there, is Machiavelli's coldest law. He who controls his mind controls the world. You are no longer rebuilding, you are reprogramming. And the man you are becoming does not apologize for being calculated. He does not explain his coldness. He does not diminish himself for anyone's comfort. He does not seek permission. He builds position. That is the energy that rises. That is the mindset that no loss, no betrayal, no chaos can ever destroy. You are untouchable now. You own your mind.